Hey, we made it to February and you're in your Bread and Circuses class. This little video relates to the final project that we have going for this class. This is a project that we're going to build throughout the course of the course. So your first assignment is coming up and that's going to be in mid-February. So let's get going. First off, here we are at the website and we're going to go to Blackboard. I know you've done this a million times, but I always feel like sometimes it's good to start from the beginning. So we're going to Blackboard. We open up in our course on Bread and Circuses, and if you get to the Begin Here tab, or Begin Here page, if you scroll on down, keeping in mind these course objectives for our final project, don't lose sight of those, you'll see a link for the final project. This is actually there throughout the course. You'll find it in a lot of places. So let's get this opened up and take a look. Okay, so the final project, it's a 200-point project, so it's worth 20% of your course grade. However, please note that I won't allow you to pass the class unless you participate in this project. So even though it's only 20%, you've still got to participate to pass the class. So please do it. The final project, again, we won't do it all at once. We'll do it in stages. So please try to keep up and get these things in on time. It helps me to give you feedback, and it also helps you to get this done in a timely manner. So I'm going to ask that you try to use the elements from the whole class. Think about your readings, your writing assignments, some of the activities you're doing, some of the discussions you're participating in, and think of this project as a comprehensive exam. So let's get going. The first element is due Tuesday, February 19th. Ooh, that's Cardinal Newman Tea Day, so hopefully you'll get to enjoy the tea and you'll have this turned in on the same day. First off, identify 3 of the goals for the creative spirit, as noted in our syllabus, as noted throughout our course. Let me see if I can pull that up really quickly, and just to remind you. This is also a good time to remind you that please, on your papers that you're writing, on your projects that you're doing, always try to go back and address those goals, right? The reason is you'll be able to pull together your project a lot easier if you've already written on these goals, if you've already addressed them from time to time in our class. The other thing is this is a creative spirit course, and we're trying to work on those goals and see how well they may or may not mesh with the topic that we're working on, the city, arts, and entertainment. So, for example, how do we engage in the creative spirit? Right? That can be festivals, that can be museums. Where does human creativity come from? A lot of you have been working on that in your presentations. That's a really interesting question, and you might have different answers. So I don't want to lead you one way or the other. How does the creative spirit lead us toward transcendence? That's a very interesting one. Look up that word transcendence and see what you think about it. Many of you have talked about that with regard to the Keeper of the Plains. Many of you have talked about that with regard to great cathedrals. So how does the creative spirit lead us to transcendence? How does the creative spirit connect and link us to each other? That's something that each of you have been working on. I can see that in the various projects. Where can we recognize expressions of that creative spirit? Do we see it in literature, music, art, theater with Antigone, film? Let's see, and how has the creative spirit influenced various aspects of society? So this could be the history of your community. Maybe it reflects the history of your community. It could be government issues, business issues, even science. Right? Exploration Place is a science and technology museum that's very creatively put together. Right? Some of you mentioned the spy exhibit, the code breaking exhibit at Exploration Place, and I took my kids there, took my grandkids there, so we had a great time. So please go out and try to make these connections with your project to these goals, right? Let's see, so let's get back to the project we're working on. Okay, so February 19th, first thing you want to do is identify 3 of those goals for the creative spirit that you really want to work with. You want to work with on your final project. Then explore a current example of a city or a town-supported arts and or entertainment venue that helps you to define the identity or the culture of the city or community you're looking at, right? So this could be anything from Intrust Arena to the local church. This could be the baseball stadium in your town. This could be the museum, the historical museum in your town. This could be the Wichita Art Museum. So find a venue that helps to define the culture of the city, the culture of the community, the identity of the community. Again, this can range from an art installation, we say, a museum, a public park. This could be specific performances. This could be bike paths, festivals. Do a little research. Attend the event or the venue if you can. You may have attended it in the past. You may want to. Maybe it's on your bucket list. You want to get there. Any city will do. You don't have to be stuck with Wichita. If you don't want to stay in Wichita, you can go off and be adventurous. Go find someplace else. You may use your Out and About project if you want to jumpstart you. We have a creolizing project, creolization. This is about graffiti. That's coming up. Maybe that's an inspiration for you. It doesn't matter. The only thing you need to know is it needs to be a venue or an event that enjoys support from public tax dollars. So taxpayer dollars have to come in or can come in a variety of ways. This can be tax breaks. This can be that maybe this is city land that this venue is on. The Veterans Memorial on the river is on city land, right? That was given for that factor, given for the a park to celebrate the military veterans of our community. So there you go. It doesn't have to be an official city location. It just has to somehow be supported by tax dollars that the community has decided this is important enough to put money into, right? How do you find that out? Go to the website for the city, say of Wichita, or the county, that's Sedgwick, if you're local, and they will have a .gov site. They will have a budget online. It might not be this year's budget because it may not be quite done. It might not even be last year's budget. But if you can find a budget for 10 years ago that shows how your park or your venue is supported by taxpayer dollars, that's enough, right? So what's due on February 19th, identify 3 of the goals for the creative spirit that you want to address in your research. Find a spot, a place, a festival that you want to feature. And then just make sure that it enjoys public support, public tax dollar support. That's on February 19th. By March 5th, I'm going to ask that you do a little research on that financial support and you find out how this thing came to be. Who decided that taxpayer dollars should go into it? Was it a combination of private money and public money? Do some research, find out. That's March 5th. And I want you then to take the first project you turned in, the first paper you turned in on February 19th, and try to now start working this into an essay, right? Start putting together the pieces of the financial side, the creative spirit side, and the actual venue itself. That'll help you because on April 2nd, you're going to actually write a 3 to 4 page essay that demonstrates the following. What's your inspiration for this work? What are the 3 goals that you connect to your project? And taking this a step further, how do you connect them? That's your analysis, right? How do you connect your project to the goals of this class? Then find at least 3 of the course readings and some of your discussions, some of your other works, and maybe just conversations you're having with colleagues, and start to see how your venue and your analysis of those creative spirit goals maybe connects back to the role of theater in society, the role of the gladiator games and great arena sports and spectacles for society, or maybe Shakespeare and how the city of London actually influenced him in his work, or maybe our presentation on parks in Kansas City at the turn of the 20th century. So there's a lot of different things that we're going to be working on in this class, and by the time we get to April, you will have done a lot of them. How does your topic relate to some of the readings and the discussions that we've had in class? Here's where you're going to do compare and contrast, right? You're going to compare what you've already done with your venue, with your event. remind us again how the venue is supported by public funding, and then tell us how will you then present all of the reading and research and writing you've done in a creative fashion. This is your final step, this creative fashion. The creative element is due April 23rd. And we have had just a variety of folks turn in different things. I've had people who work up a brochure for Entrust Arena. How would you sell Entrust Arena to prospective renters? I've had people who put together, honest to goodness, a quilt based on all of the events that they went to at Century 2. They had t-shirts from all of the concerts and plays that they went to at Century 2, and they put it into a t-shirt quilt. Wow. People have done PowerPoint presentations, photo essays, poems, songs, anything that allows you to be creative. You can absolutely do an essay. You can actually do a memoir, a personal reflection. If you're more of a writer, go for it. So the idea here is to try to come up with a creative approach to the work that you've done. More to come on that. All along the way, I'll be asking that you comment on each other's work, that you give each other help and support in this project, and that you learn from each other, because this is a creative process that brings us all together as well. So, the first thing that you have due is, oh sorry, I didn't wrap this up. There's a final draft due on May 7th, so if you want to revise based on people's comments, you absolutely can. So, the first thing that's due is February 19th. I know that's months away till that final version's ready. I'm trying to get you going. Please make sure that you get this submitted at Blackboard at the proper link by February 19th. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please, if you find anything weird in the prompt, because I sometimes have typos that are really strange, please let me know. And again, if you have any questions, holler. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.